Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we're going to be talking about the gloomiest of havens, Jaws of the Lion. Now, this video, hopefully from the timestamp and the title I assume, will say something along the lines of everything you need to know in 10 minutes or less. That's the dream, that's the goal. Am I good at making short videos? Absolutely not. And am I good at telling you everything you need to know in 10 minutes or less? Probably also not. However, I will do my darndest, which means we're going to skip the whole introduction. We're going to skip the whole thing where I tell you that we make very nice B-roll, tell you to subscribe or leave a comment or anything like that. We're not going to dive into that at all. So that's, we're probably 3 minutes ahead of schedule right now. In this video, I'm going to do three very specific things. I'm first going to give you my concise overview of Gloomhaven. This is still Gloomhaven, so we're going to talk about why people love the core game, what is unique and captivating about this gameplay experience to see if it is the right style of game for you, or if you're brand new to the genre and thinking about getting started here, to let you know what you can expect. Then we're going to talk about what is different with Jaws of the Lion compared to that big box behemoth of a game, Gloomhaven, the legendary monster itself. And then finally, I'm going to dive into these characters because I think a lot of the people that are tuning in are interested in how these characters play and how they might be incorporated into their core box. And then finally, I'm going to end the video quickly and concisely and tell you to like, comment, subscribe, and then I'm gonna probably eat this duck. So let's get started. And before we dive into everything, if you want a heads up or a spoiler, I'll give you the end of the video right now. Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion is the best, I'll repeat it, the best way for any gamer to experience and be introduced into this genre. This is, hands down, a fascinating take on how you approach and bring new people into this world of board gaming, and I think it does an incredible job. Now, let me tell you all about the reasons why. Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven as a core experience is a legacy game. It is a story-driven dungeon crawl where you are using a tactical, set of hands. Hand management is a big part of this game. Playing and using abilities, moving across a map, and going on a journey. In Jaws of the Lion specifically, you are a band of mercenaries doing your best to discover why people in your small backwater town have suddenly gone missing. This game replicates and emphasizes all of the elements that people love about an RPG game, something like D&D, except without the DM. It tells and runs the story for you. Some of the most fascinating or interesting elements of Gloomhaven as an experience, quick, I'll run through them like a bullet point. First off, it's a legacy game. That means that as you unlock abilities, gain experience, upgrade and equip new cards or items, open card packs that have hidden messages or hidden information on them, add stickers to your board, or progress through the story, you're never, or at least not often, playing the same scenario or the same encounter over again. It is a story that lives and progresses, and so playing it like you would play an RPG game, a role-playing game, is the experience you're coming into. You sit down around the table, play the same character that you've been playing for the last 10, 20, or maybe even 100 different scenarios, slowly upgrade, equip, advance, and then retire your hero who is off on their adventure, completing a series of challenges or missions, and oftentimes encountering new obstacles or adventures that are in your wake. This game dips into all of the things people love about story-driven role-playing games, and does so in a way that is accessible and inviting, and Jaws of the Lion doubles down on that accessibility, doubles down on the element that is so refreshing and inviting about this type of experience. So when it comes to the actual gameplay of it, Gloomhaven is going to be a dungeon crawl. That means that every scenario is largely going to be based on a gridded map program. You're going to be adding your meeples to, or your miniatures, your heroes, to the starting area, and then using cards or abilities to move around, cast spells, add defense, heal your allies, and ultimately beat up on your little tokens here until they all succumb to your destructive capabilities. Most of the scenarios deal with some sort of main mechanic that is destroy all bad guys, or at least prevent bad guys from doing a specific thing. And so, through a dungeon crawl experience, this will be your main game environment, moving miniatures on a map, and doing your best to resolve or overcome whatever challenges are presented to you. There will be flavor text. There will be moments where you trigger something like opening a door and special things happen. Encounters or new creatures pop out, or the scenario and challenge you're facing changes slightly. And the environment is going to be full of different obstacles and objectives. Trap tokens, coins that get dropped, treasure chests that you can loot, things that you can bring back home not only to gain experience, but also upgrade and equip your character. Because this game is all about your character that you're playing. Now, the main game of Gloomhaven, the puzzle that you're actually trying to solve, if you're looking for what stands out about this, what is unique compared to a RPG game or compared to other dungeon crawl experiences, is going to be in the cards. Now, these cards start off with a series of levels, and every time you level up, you'll be able to build your deck, add in and take away cards based off of what type of character you want to play. Now, when we dive into the characters, you'll see that they do fall into more contemporary categories, at least when it comes to Jaws of the Lion. You have your shield, your healer, your spellcaster, your sort of brute, and your ranged character. Now, the thing that makes these cards so intriguing and exciting to play with is that they are not only your timer, these cards represent your life, and you will be losing them throughout the course of your journey. Whatever encounter you're facing, this timer will start ticking down, limiting not only how much time you have before the end of the scenario, before you result in a loss, but also how many abilities and actions you have available to take. Now, along with that, you'll see on these cards here that there is a top action and a bottom action. The top action usually dealing with something like an attack, and the bottom action typically being something like a move. However, all of these cards are unique and individual, and they pair together in really, really interesting ways, and you will always be playing two of them from your hand every turn. This will trigger your initiative, which is the center number there, and then you will choose a top action and a bottom action on each of the respective cards you played, meaning you're not only cycling and removing your ability to do some other actions later on in the game until you rest, meaning recover your hand back into your stockpile, but you will also be pairing and chaining and solving this puzzle as you go. Do you do a super heavy, massive attack, causing a lot of damage but losing a card, reducing that time that you have? Do you move quickly and efficiently but do maybe a lighter or a softer attack? These are the puzzles you have to deal with in Gloomhaven. Probably 15 or 20% of the game is you sitting here pondering over what you want to do with your deck of cards, playing them face down, looking around the table, making sure everyone else is ready, and then flipping, saying, I have initiative 19, initiative 20, 68. Then you'll flip your bad guy cards, you'll determine their initiative and what actions they're taking, and then you'll resolve. You'll go through your top and your bottom action, taking moves and doing whatever it is you intended to do or hope to do throughout the course of your turn, having both the creatures that you're facing move based off of their AI deck, and then also resulting and resolving based off of where you fall in the initiative timeline with the rest of your adventuring party. So, that is, I think, the core structure of Gloomhaven, and I already feel like I have talked way too long. So the idea of this being a 10-minute video slowly fluttering out of the window. Let's go ahead and go through what Jaws of the Lion does unique or different for those of you that are interested in picking up this box. Now, this is a stand-alone game, meaning you can play this out of the box, full Gloomhaven experience, you're ready to go. And if you've never played Gloomhaven, or like me, you had Gloomhaven on the shelf for over a year, intimidated and not really equipped or experienced enough, or you at least didn't feel equipped or experienced enough to get it to the table and learn everything there is to learn, Jaws of the Lion is going to be the most accessible and inviting way for you to learn the mechanics of this game. It starts off with a lovely little sheet that walks you through the components, the things you're pulling out of the box. It then goes to a hefty learn to play guide, and this is going to walk you through the first 5 scenarios of Jaws of the Lion. Now, what that means is you're going to be learning how to play this game while you actually play it. There is no need or reason to sit down and read an entire rulebook when you first get this to the table. Instead, you should go over the components so you're familiar with them, and then you read the first page or two, resolving Scenario 1. And then Scenario 1 is going to end with you gaining some abilities, some new cards, pulling maybe an event deck, or flipping over to Scenario 2, and 3, and 4. And by the time you get to the end of this maybe 5-hour first scenario journey, you and your team should be up and running. You should know how to play Gloomhaven. And unlike that core box that sits behind me, this is the best way to learn the game. In the core box, you started off, I think most people's experience with the core box is losing Scenario 1. Because you just sat down, you tried to read the rules, you do super powerful actions and attacks and extend all your energy, and then you run out of this lovely little deck of cards that you have and you find, I did not time or play or encounter this the right way. And then you dig back into the rulebook, that massive many-paged book, and then you play Scenario 1 again. In fact, my partner on the channel here, Jan, he played Scenario 1 and ended up not wanting to play any other scenarios in the core game until he sat down with someone who knew it, who enjoyed it, who could teach him the game, like Jaws of the Lion does, and it was the most accessible and inviting way for him to learn. So, in Jaws of the Lion, it's first off going to be a teaching game. The first 5 scenarios out of the 25 scenarios in this core box are going to walk you through and upgrade you or progress you through the steps to learning the game. Now, some of the other things that it does unique. First off, we have 4 unique characters. Each one of these characters can be incorporated into Frosthaven or the core Gloomhaven box. So if you love playing with one of these, you can bring them through any of your other titles or any of the other expansions. Everything is still cross-compatible. We have our map up top here with some zones to place stickers. This will be part of the legacy aspect of the game. You will be adding stickers to each of these regions here as you learn more information. These will unlock and give you the opportunity to go on different adventures throughout the course of the game. You also have this map book. Instead of tiles like you have in the core box, I think there's 75 scenarios, and so you need a lot of modular tiles. Here we have 25 scenarios with a secondary book that extends those maps or those scenarios when it's necessary. This is one of the best improvements about the game, hands down. The amount of time it takes to get things to the table is reduced by probably 75%. You have a organizer tray, you have an accessible hand of cards, you have simplified player boards, and you have a scenario book where all you have to do is open it up, add the tokens where it indicates that you add them, and you're ready to play. Cannot stress how good this system is when it comes to a game that is this big. In fact, I fully hope and intend that for any expansions that come out for the core or for Frosthaven down the line, I would love to see them incorporate this style of map development and map placement into the future things they're doing. It is just so much easier and so much, genuinely, so much nicer. Now, along with that, some of the other things that Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion does unique or does new is going to be the insert tray. The core box, including these tokens here, actually have a place to store them that is massive when it comes to just accessibility and organization, again, improving upon the things that the community struggled with the first core box. Now, the legacy elements of this game have been scaled back just a touch. When it comes to a small box experience, it is hard to incorporate as many into an adventure like this. You have a series of stickers. You have, of course, your hero packs with cards and special upgraded items that will improve your character as you play, that have nice big halt, do not open symbols on the front of them. You have tuck boxes for all of the components that you're using for your character specific. And you have your little player aids with 5 sheets that allow you to replay or change up your character if you make a mistake or you decide you want to swing through this game another time, or you're bringing a new guest in. Along with that, we have 4 unopened secret boxes here. These are things that you're not going to want to touch until the book tells you so. These are going to be surprises. This is the legacy element of the game. And so, it is scaled back a touch, but there are still going to be those moments of adventure and discovery throughout the course of this. So, I think now I've told you about an overview of Gloomhaven. I think I've told you about the stuff that Jaws of the Lion does new or unique when it compares itself to that core box. Let's go ahead and walk through these characters, and then I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna go edit this video. I mean, it is already Sunday, so if you're watching this, I literally just got finished editing this. So, you know, I'm wearing a suit, I'm drinking bourbon, and it is 2 a.m.? However, I took a nap today, so don't worry about me too much. There's a rumor out there that I don't sleep. It might be true, but it's not that true. The characters that we're playing with. We have the Void Warden. The Void Warden is going to be your classic human character. However, this human character, or the Void Wardens as a coalition, are humans who've been touched by the Void. The Void is this sort of cursed, magical essence that exists in the realms of Gloomhaven. It is a persistent dark magic, and when something is touched by it or fully encounters it, it crumbles into a gray ash. The Void Warden has a burn down the side of her face, and she has encountered or been in the presence of the Void, that darkness. And so, she has devoted her life and her mission to not only utilizing and harnessing the power of the Void, but also trying to prevent and keep others from needing to experience or having the same experience that she's had. In her cards, you'll find a series of magical abilities and healing abilities. Largely, she's going to operate as your on-the-ground healer and manipulator. She will be twisting other characters to her will, both her allies and her enemies. She'll be forcing them to do things like ranged attacks, which still cause damage to themselves when the Void passes through them. She'll be healing at the cost of her own life, or spreading power and magic, manipulating this element chart up here, and casting more powerful abilities when she's able to utilize those elements. From what I can tell, the puzzle when it comes to playing the Void Warden is going to be in board control, in manipulating how other characters and other creatures exist in this puzzle. You will be helping not only heal and keep your teammates alive, but also position and align things to work out in your favor. Now, while you do this, while you harness the power of the Void, you will be doing it at great cost to yourself, limiting your own health, restricting your own abilities, and potentially rapidly pacing yourself towards endgame. But if that sounds like a character you're interested in playing, check out the Void Warden. We have the Red Guard here. The Red Guard is going to be an outcast from, if I could remember the flavor text I've read, let's see here, where is it? There's a name here. Demon-like qualities, feared by many, well-mannered and gentle. They come from the, I found it. There is a specific cast of Valrath in the capital of Jindra. And Jindra is going to be the location where the Red Guard has been exiled from, forcing him to become a bandit or a mercenary. The Red Guard is this demon-like creature that has pledged himself to defending others. And so this is going to be your shield. What you'll find in his character deck here are going to be cards that not only buff and protect him and his allies around him, but also cards that cause damage when people move into his zone. A large part of your gameplay here with the Red Guard is going to have to do with positioning, trying to be out in front, trying to be ahead of your magic or your ranged characters, causing damage to those that get into your way, and really holding the front line. You're there to prevent others from suffering, the glass cannons, who we're going to get to, from suffering the greatest hits. And in fact, when you get hit by the strongest attacks, you're positioned to do just as much damage back. So if you like being a guard, if you like positioning and making sure you're standing in the way of your enemies, the Red Guard's going to be really interesting. Moving over to the Demolitionist. The Demolitionist is going to be a Quackalope. A Quackalope in Gloomhaven is a tiny little creature who always seems to have a fascinating personality. In Frosthaven, which we did a preview for, the Blinkblade Quackalope was one of my favorite characters, and I love the style and the personality that is already being exuded here with the Demolitionist. In the Demolitionist deck, you're going to find bruising abilities. This is going to be a tiny little glass cannon that can do more damage than almost any other character I've seen. You not only have the ability to cause massive explosions that just cover the battlefield with an immense amount of destruction, you also, with the Demolitionist here, have things like poison gauntlets on your hands. You can move fast, you can punch hard, you can slam creatures up against walls. You cause the most chaos and the most damage in this board state out of all these characters. But you need the support of your allies. You're going to need the Void Warden to heal you. You're going to need the Red Guard to protect you, because if you take a hit, you do not have much life to spare. The Demolitionist is potentially going to be one of the most fun and interesting characters here in Jaws of the Lion. And then finally, we have the Hatchet. The Hatchet is going to be a badass Enox, full with his leather cloak and his two blades down there by his side. This is sort of your ranged character, but potentially one of the most fun characters I've played in all of my Gloomhaven and Frosthaven coverage. The Hatchet is... he's going to be throwing his blade, chucking a hatchet across the battlefield, doing that ranged ability, super high damage coming in as it strikes another character, and it'll have effects with it, whether that's poison or stun or disadvantage abilities. And then your goal becomes rush forward, finish off whatever creature just got hemorrhaged by your hatchet, pick your hatchet back up, and do it all over again. Your goal is to target someone, throw your blade, rush forward in their direction, slice their throat, pick up your blade, look around the battlefield, and find someone else to target. He's a little bit of a glass cannon, a little bit weaker. Both him and the Demolitionist need supporting characters to operate effectively and efficiently, but when they're let loose, they cause so much chaos and damage across this board state, it's absolutely mind-blowing. Now, all of these characters across the board are going to be more simple and straightforward to play. This game is about teaching people how to play, and so their level 1 and level 2 abilities will feel more like introductory or straightforward archetype roles. That doesn't mean they aren't thinky, and they aren't fun, and they aren't a challenge to play in this puzzle, but compared to some of the creatures that we played when it comes to Frosthaven, there is certainly a depth in engineering around the Frosthaven characters that you don't see here, because Frosthaven is the gamer's version of Gloomhaven, whereas Jaws of the Lion is the introductory, or the welcome to the world. So I think we've made it to the end of the video. I know this hasn't been in 10 minutes. I'm very sorry for that. I make promises and then apparently I just can't, and now I'm spending more. I mean, at this point, I might as well spend some time telling you how awesome it is that you're here watching stuff and that I hope you've enjoyed it. So final thoughts. I already spoiled it at the beginning, but if you've made it to this point, I might as well tell you my final thoughts on Jaws of the Lion, and we will be having a full Right For You, Wrong For You coming out down the line. For now, I wanted to do something that previews or sets up my initial experience. Jaws of the Lion is hands down the best way to learn and experience Gloomhaven if you're brand new. It is an inviting dip back into this world if you're already an experienced player, and provides you with 4 characters that I think are worth exploring. If you enjoyed the core, you're going to have some elements here that you will have fun incorporating or bringing into your full game experience. It is a perfect standalone box, and I think people will be giving it as a gift this holiday season like none other. I think this box is going to introduce a whole arsenal of RPG players into our hobby, and I am genuinely super excited to see their experience and to welcome them in. Now, when it comes to the lineup, my thought is, if you're still debating Frosthaven, Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion, here's what I'd say, and here's exactly how I'm approaching this. Jaws of the Lion is going to be the first campaign box in this world from Cephalofair Games that I complete. I'm going to play all 20 missions. I'm probably going to do most of those over on my Patreon channel, where I just set up a camera and have some fun, not highly edited like this. And then, by the time I'm done with this, Frosthaven will be arriving. So I think people should start with Jaws of the Lion, get the introduction, learn how to play the game, figure out this puzzle, so that by the end of it, you're ready to play the more gamers-friendly game, or the gamers-focused game. Frosthaven improves upon all of the things that I loved and wanted more of when it comes to Gloomhaven, the core box. Deeper, more advanced characters, a more immersive storytelling environment, legacy elements that pull or incorporate the experience that Isaac and the team has gained over the years. And so that's my advice. Start here, play through it, enjoy the heck out of it, and then get excited for, and if you've already backed Frosthaven, wait in anticipation for that core box to arrive. Over the next year between now and when Frosthaven arrives, you should be able to make it through the 20 or the 25 campaigns and scenarios that exist in this box. I mean, you signed up for Frosthaven after all. If you can't make it through the first 25, well, you're like me and you like collecting things. Whatever the case, thank you for watching. I told you at the end of this video I was going to tell you to subscribe. However, I totally did not hit that 10-minute mark, so leave instead an angry comment down below lambasting me for making you watch an extended video instead of the tight, concise video that I promised. And make sure you do not hit that subscribe button until I qualify for your love, admiration, and respect. Whatever you do, though, remember to do the important thing. Get out and play some games. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.